gesture like sun lays me down. With my mind she runs throughout the night. No need to fight, never a frown with golden brown.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the first episode in a new series detailing the brief histories of each country in the base Imperium. This episode we'll be going over the history of the Kingdom of Hadralla. I'm the narrator, and this is Base Imperium. The Kingdom of Hadralla, or better known as the Kingdom of the Dandelion, was re-established after the 30,000-year dark period in the Hadralla mountain chain. This kingdom is ruled by one central leader, known as the Great Mountain King. Throughout the history of this nation's existence, there has been a vast number of mountain kings, most of which being from the royal family of House Dandelion. However, in recent years, some have varied. The Dandelion people are what most akin to a feudalistic medieval society. They have a system of lords and knights who protect their own lands of the realm, paying tribute to the Mountain King. These houses are listed as such: House Dandelion, House Dallio, House Temeth, House Tavamol, House Dirthel, House High Heth, House Wealth, House Sudal, and finally House Tethel. Originally, however, there was only House Dandelion.
Thank you, narrator. I'll be taking it from here. In the first few years after the Great Darkness, House Dandelion established two small towns, housing the royal family in a large house overlooking the villages. These times were peaceful for the Dandelions, as they slowly developed their breakmast ship designs and began to explore the surrounding regions. This age of exploration would lead them to make quick friends with a neighboring empire, known as the Infinite Empire. At this time, the Infinite Empire was at war against the Eastern North Star's colony, the only group in the region that still possessed cannons. The Dandelions, eager to help their new friends and neighbors, built a war fleet, sending it to aid in the upcoming battle. The name of this battle would later be known as the First Strike, having sunk the entire Eastern North Star fleet. The Dandelions would then scavenge these North Star wrecks and come out of the war victorious with an arsenal of cannons. During the following era, the North Star colony was jointly ruled over by the Infinite Empire and the Dandelions, but this time of peace would not last as the first Hellfire invasions would commence. The Hellfire invasions, which will have their own separate video, detailing their entire influence and history, were attacks from an alternate dimension through portal technology. One outcropping of the Hellfire armies was in the Hadralla Mountains, being quickly snuffed out in a small battle with the Dandelion's main force. This would be the only partaking that the Dandelions had in the first Hellfire invasions, having easily destroyed their enemies. Now, at this time, the Dandelion fleet under Admiral Scaldalio would sail west, disappearing for many decades. After another short time of peace, the First War of Midral would then kick off. On one side, the newly reformed Blood Empire, alongside North Star loyalists who wished for its freedom, and the Steamworkers of Kamal. On the opposing side, the Dandelions, Infinite Empire, and the tribes of Alahal who recently joined the Three-Way Alliance. In this war, the Dandelions would play only a small role, as most of the battles took place in the Infinite Empire's disputed lands. Here, they would aid in a number of small battles and skirmishes, attempting to rescue the captured Queen of the Infinite Empire at the tail end of the war, but failing to do so. This war led the Dandelions being forced out of the Isle of Eastern North Star, as they were freed in a political deal to save the Infinite Queen. In the final year of the war, it was declared that a council of leaders from each nation would meet annually to discuss it, in hopes to prevent another conflict. This was the formation of the Union of Imperium, 120 years after the Dandelions reformed. 10 years after the formation of the World Union, the second Hellfire invasions would commence. Now, this invasion was 10 times larger than previous attacks, as the Hellfire army centralized on the Isle of Yamahat. The Dandelions were charged with attacking the western coast, while the Blood Empire attacked the east. This naval invasion would be the largest failure in Dandelion history, as almost their entire fleet sank, and no troops even had the chance to land on the island. Having been fought back at sea, the Dandelions would withdraw their armies, leaving the Blood Empire to win the war by a technicality. 50 years after the Second Hellfire War, the Dandelions would yet again be dragged into another conflict, as the Second War of Midral commenced. At this point in history, the Blood Empire had gained the power of wyverns, forcing the other nations into submission under their banner. The Dandelions did not resist the attack, as wyverns were already shown to completely scorch the world. Their current king, Hadralla Dandelion, would surrender, joining the Blood Empire's ranks and swearing fealty towards the Bloody King. Around this same time, the colonies established by the Dandelions along the inland sea would rebel, switching to the Riverland side. After 80 years, however, the Blood Empire's rule would collapse, as their attempt to conquer the Riverlands failed spectacularly, losing them all 4 wyverns. This collapse led to the Dandelions gaining the chance to reclaim their throne and throw out the traitorous king. Admiral Dandelion of the Lost Fleet would ascend the throne, killing the Dandelion dynasty in its entirety. They would then take back a number of the traitorous colonies, leaving a few remnants as the Western Dandelions, a separate sect entirely. King Hadralla would then sire 3 children with his wife, Conad Opem, sister to his new admiral Lord Var Opem. His first 2 children were both girls, one named Chalet Dalio and the other Defo Dalio. His third child would be a son, named William Dalio. For most of King Hadralla's rule, the borders would be permanently closed off to all outsiders. Only in the few years before his death would he rekindle the ancient alliance between the Infinite Empire, with their new head Finrod Goldfast, and the tribes of Alahal. Prince William Dalio married the princess of the Infinite Empire during this time, named Ridley Goldfast, cementing the relationship between the 2 nations. During his later years in power, the world will also see the Third Hellfire Invasion, or commonly known as the Plague. The Plague would wipe out a number of Dandelion settlements, leading up to today in the modern era. The Western Dandelions are a group of loyalists who, once House Dandelion was destroyed, sought revenge against House Dalio. At one point in their history, they were a part of the Riverlands Collective, but left the country as they received no aid to defend their land against the Blood Empire's invasions. They are a heavily impoverished nation compared to their eastern counterparts. Most of their food comes from fishing in the inland sea and small berry farms and wheat farms. They once held one of the most impressive castles in Imperium, but were unable to reconstruct it after the war. Their nation stands as a reminder to what the Blood Empire has done to the world and how it affected the people it conquered. Thank you for watching this short video on the history of the Dandelions. Shout out to our wonderful actors and crew for help in this production. I've been the Diamond Narrator, and this is the history of Fate's Imperium.